Hey, what's up, everybody? How we doing? How are we doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I am doing a live webinar for everybody right now. This is exciting. It's nerve-wracking and exciting at the same time. But yeah, basically, I'm just going to be talking about getting remote jobs. It's kind of a hot topic right now, and I am somebody who's been working remotely for the past 6 years pretty consistently. I have had a few job changes in that 6 year time frame, so being able to pivot quickly and consistently land 100% remote jobs to be able to travel or spend more time with family, spend more time at home, things like that has really been honestly a life-changing experience for me personally. And I'll just kind of go into my story here. Yeah, like I said, I've been working remotely for the past couple of years, but prior to that, I had always worked in an office. So, the majority of my career, I worked in kind of like a corporate setting where I was working at a, I was I worked for AT&T for a couple of years, doing cell phone sales, and I worked out of different stores. So I always had to be out of a physical location, managing those stores, managing the teams, things like that. So I didn't always get a chance to travel. The only time I would ever travel would be on like vacations, once a year type of stuff. So, um, after that, I got into working for tech companies and startups, early stage startups, and that's where I really I learned a lot from working those types of jobs. But I also sorry, little feedback there. Yeah. So I worked for tech companies, and we worked in a huge office. So I always worked in this massive call center basically. And when COVID hit in 2020, we went remote out of thin air. One day we're in the office, the next day we're working remotely. I always tell the story like we're setting up monitors in our kitchen, or at least I was. I had never worked remotely before. So it was all new to me, learning how to do stuff like this, be on webinars, be on Zoom calls, managing communications through Slack. I'm in my kitchen or wherever I'm at right now, like by myself, having to self-manage yourself and be responsible, be engaged, being active. Like I had to learn all that stuff pretty quickly. So, but then even shortly after, going remotely for this company that I'd worked, years for and poured my whole heart into or whatever, right? Like I got laid off. I got laid off shortly after that. And, COVID was just destroying the world, right? So, a lot of companies were doing layoffs. Unfortunately, I was impacted by that. So I had to bounce back really quickly and, go find another job. But before I got laid off, I got to do some travel, and I was like, man, this is cool. Like I can still work and do what I need to do, but I can go, you can hop on a plane and go anywhere. And, it was just a game changer for me. So fast forward a couple years, I've been traveling, going to Mexico consistently, always, just having the flexibility and freedom to be able to do that was really cool. And I told myself, I'm like, man, I'm never going to go back to the office after this. Why would I go back to the office when this is an option? This is so much more cooler. There's pros and cons to everything. There's a lot of perks and benefits to working remotely, obviously cost savings and flexibility with location and things like that. But there are some things that I would probably consider like a con or something to at least think about when you're getting into remote work. One of those things being you're by yourself, right? Or you're just with whoever you're around. So me personally working in stores and sales environments or call centers or offices where there's people around, you're kind of not getting that when you're working remotely. So you could be missing out on some stuff. And for me, doing what I was doing, like sales and marketing, I needed to be around people, right? I needed to bounce ideas off people. You kind of feed off each other's energy. You have team meetings, rallies, you're hanging out, going to happy hour after work, or maybe going to grab lunch with a coworker. And you're also making friends with the people that you work with. So I do miss that. But, social media, you can stay in touch with people via social media. You guys enjoy the office. I'm going to be I'll be at the beach later, right? Kind of thing, right? So those are kind of the trade-offs and the things you have to kind of consider. But anywho, that's a little bit about me and my professional background. I moved to Mexico about a year ago, and I had no real like intention of being kind of where I'm at right now, and it's been a nice, pleasant surprise, and I'm grateful. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting and just kind of been following along the journey. But anywho, I moved to Mexico about a year ago, and I got my residency. I rented my house out. I sold all my things. I packed up everything, and moved to Mexico because I just wanted a new lifestyle. Right, I wanted to completely just clear the slate, start all over again, and be in a beautiful place where there's beautiful beaches. I've been going to Mexico for years already, vacations and stuff like that. So I made the move, and it was honestly one of the best things I ever did, physically, mentally. And then kind of the cherry on top has been some of the social media stuff that's happened from it as well. So I started posting my videos to social media about, educational stuff like, how to get your residency, here's how to find rentals, or here's how to buy real estate, these kinds of things. Great taco places, great speakeasies and bars. Here's what I do for fun on Sunday, that kind of stuff. And it started to kind of, I just built a following from it. And I think there was a lot of demand. And through those videos, I would always post, I would get comments about, all kinds of stuff. Oh, where's that beach club at? Da, 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 da. But a lot of the same common questions I would always get are, what do you do for work, dude? What do you do to be able to do what you're doing? And at the time, in the beginning, I didn't really know what was going on. I just started like answering these questions and yeah, sorry, I'm making sure that I'm recording here. Yep, recording in progress. I'm so sorry. Give me just a second here. First time going live stream, so I'm making sure everything works, but I'll edit this out or, whatever. I'm a human being. Who cares? But let's see here. Yeah. So I started posting videos. I started getting a lot of questions and comments about what do you do for work? And then the secondary question behind that was always, well, how do I do that? Well, how do I get a remote job? I want to work a remote job too, right? But like, it was a lot of other, kind of questions and messages that I got behind that too. Rich, I've been in the healthcare industry for 20 years, working out of a hospital. I hate it. I'm tired of it. I see what you're doing. And, realistically, I would like to be able to do something like that at some point. I've never done this before. I've tried looking online. I've tried this and this and this. I don't have time, or I've got family and kids. I don't know what to do. How can you help me? Right. These are the kinds of questions I would get. So I got so many of those similar questions that I, started to do my best to answer every single person individually. And I just came out with this mini course to help people do that exact same thing. How to get started, what to do, like, what are the things that I just need? Just tell me what I need to do, right? Like, give me the path, give me the roadmap, give me the answers, give me everything that I need, right? So that's what I did. I put together a course on basically like how to self-assess yourself, to understand like what your niche offer is, to understand, what, all right, give me just a second here, to understand, what, where you should be applying for jobs, basically. So the self-assessment part kind of goes over like a deep dive on yourself. There's a lot of AI that I use and I incorporate in the courses and things like that. But I also talk about, sorry, I'm gonna send an email. Give me a second here, guys. I'm gonna send an email out to people. I'll let them know that we're going live. I don't think there's anybody on the live stream right now anyway, so I think we're all good here. So I'll probably end up restarting this whole thing in just a moment here, but 1 minute. Link. Drop the link. Yeah. Let's see what we got up in here. You are on any of my email distribution lists. There's so many people I can get on here right now. And I promise going forward, I'm gonna be a little bit more organized with this. I apologize. Settings, camera, FaceTime, high def. All right, all right. All right, we got some people joining now. Let's go. Chat. All right. So let's see here. I am live now. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Jerry, greetings from Gerald, Texas. How you doing, buddy? Appreciate that. Okay. Yep. So I'll be keeping an eye on the chat over here periodically. Can you guys? Can you hear me? Can you see me? I think so. Okay. Very good. Very good. So we're just gonna get into it. I am. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you. Let me get in here and get going because cool stuff to share here. All right, good deal. Yep. Hi from Florida. It's from Jeremy. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. So, yeah. So basically, what I was talking about earlier, I was just kind of giving my little background and my story. How I've been remote for the past couple of years. Was always working in an office, always working in like a corporate setting, and eventually, COVID hit out of nowhere in 2020. The whole world went remote, and that just kind of kickstarted this whole remote work life journey for me. And I've been working 100% remotely ever since. I moved to Mexico about a year ago, started posting my journey on social media, and I kind of built this following. I've had a lot of people ask a lot of questions. I might be right. Some of you are here today from social media, and a lot of people just ask questions, right? Like, how do I get a remote job? I want to do this. I'm burnt out. I'm tired of it. Da 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 da. I don't know where to begin. Rich, can you help me out? I see what you're doing. Can you help me out? That kind of thing. So that is why I built this whole course. That's why I'm even doing this, is to help people out and kind of help them get started with their remote job journey. Now, finding a remote job these days is a lot easier said than done. I don't know if you're out there currently, in your remote job search, or if you've had any experience with it. I have, and I can tell you that it's hard. It's probably harder than it's ever been, but it's also, very rewarding, right? It's a very rewarding kind of lifestyle. Working remotely, there's a lot of perks, there's a lot of benefits to it, and for me anyway, it was like a life-changing experience. Like, I don't know if I'll ever go back to the office, and if I ever do, I probably won't like it for very long. Being able to travel, it's just a game changer. But that's kind of the reason why I like working remotely, is to be able to travel. Some people have different reasons and different, lives that they're living, right? So a lot of people have reached out with like the whole, I want to travel, I want to be remote and do what you're doing kind of thing. But also, like, I've had people reach out saying stuff like, we just had a new kid, I need to be closer to home. I can't, I out in the home, the family needs me, or, medical reasons, or whatever the case is, or they have some sort of commute between family. Like, there's a specific reason that isn't like travel related to where they are really kind of needing that remote job. And that's kind of where I kind of kicked in and was like, all right, well, I get a lot of questions. There's obviously some sort of demand here. There's obviously some sort of problem or disconnect between working remote and then people kind of not knowing where to get started or what to do or how to go about it. And that's why I kind of put this all together and sharing my best practices. I've done a ton of research on the internet about, like, just in general over the years. I mean, I've done a ton of research to put together the materials that I put in the course, but I've also hired like coaches. I've paid for different programs and softwares and trialed and errored a lot with different strategies and methods and things like that. And once I kind of started to notice patterns and creating and kind of perfecting my approach and technique and kind of comparing results, like, I think it's safe to say that, it's something that definitely works versus what I think a lot of people probably do when they go search for remote jobs. You have to be very strategic. You have to know kind of what you're doing. You have to know what to expect. And it's not impossible. If I can do it, I mean, anybody can do it, kind of thing, right? So, but yeah, let's get started. So I kind of put together this. This is a freebie that people can download. I have a link on my website. It's a free download. It's a free guide, but basically it kind of gives you an oversight or an overview of what, to expect, right? What to expect when you're out there doing your job search. Like I said before, it's very competitive. It's harder than it's ever been. And it's probably going to stay that way for a while. Remote jobs are in demand. Remote work is in demand. People want to do the remote job thing, the remote work thing. And, there's this battle now. There's this battle between companies wanting to keep you in the office and then people not wanting to be in the office anymore. And you've got two options. You can go and start your own thing, be an online entrepreneur, figure out how to make money online, which I've been doing also. Or you can get really good at finding remote jobs and find a company that's going to, work with you and let you work for them and not be worried about keeping you on a leash. In my opinion, I think that's why a lot of companies do that. One, because they probably already leased the office space and they're paying for it. And two, they want to have like full control over you. That's my opinion on it. Depending on the kind of work that you do. But then also, there's just different reasons. Every company's different. Every industry's different. So, So it's very competitive. There's a couple different common reasons. There's a couple common themes that I think people are experiencing whenever they're going out there trying to find remote jobs. It's a mixture of stuff. So I try to kind of help people cut through the noise and just focus on what's going to help them get, started, or at least get results the fastest, even with zero experience, right? So if you're already, actively working remotely and you've been doing this for a while, I mean, to be honest with you, this webinar may not be that helpful to you. The course I offer may not be that helpful to you. And I totally understand it. If you've already, I had to figure a lot of this stuff out on my own. So this version of me right now, I probably wouldn't invest any more money in anything. But if you're just getting started, I definitely would have bought this mini course a long time ago and just got right to work. Awesome, Jeremy. Yeah, new to the remote work search world. I'm here to learn. Yeah, yep. So just know that there's a lot of different reasons why people don't get hired. The days of just submitting an application or a resume are kind of a generic resume, like one that you put together that you think is great and perfect. Those are probably the ones that get ignored the most, to be completely honest with you. Just because the game's changed now, right? Like everything's dependent on softwares, everything's dependent on, ATS bots, everything's dependent on, computers, robots, AI, all that fun stuff. So some of the common reasons why people fail when they're going to start looking for jobs is skills mismatch, right? A lot of remote jobs and a lot of remote companies now are tech companies, startups or some sort of major tech firm, right? They usually aren't really too worried about the location. They're worried about the skills that you have, what's in demand, that kind of thing. So IT roles are in demand, and then sales roles are always in demand. Marketing roles are always in demand. And this is, when I say tech companies, it doesn't necessarily, tech companies cover a very large group of industries. So there are healthcare tech companies, there are financial tech companies, there are automotive tech companies. There's like tech companies for everything now. So I always apply for tech companies. I got started working for early stage startups a couple of years ago. So I have kind of that background and experience, but I work for a tech company now, and they still hire people without any like tech background, right? There's still roles that are needed in tech companies that are 100% remote, that pay well, that have great perks, that don't necessarily need or require some vast background, right? So I talk a lot about that in the course and everything, and I'll drop a link to the course here in a little bit if you guys want to take a look at it. You can also look at the link in my bio as well. There's some information in there if you want to take a look at it. But another reason why people fail at this is the high competition. There's a lot. Again, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of people trying to get remote jobs, and then I think a lot of people just give up too quick. They put in a couple applications, they don't get a call back, and they're like, this doesn't work. There's something in that process that's just not working. You have to treat this like a game. You have to treat this like a job now, is to find a remote job. So there's a couple other reasons why people fail in this as well. They're not really looking at really kind of specific niches. They're not really looking at incorporating like company size. I'll say like the bigger, massive companies like the Amazons of the world, or those, I don't know, they hire a lot. They have massive workforces and all that stuff, but they're always the first ones to cut labor quick. You kind of just fall in a big pond of employees, right? So you may not even really get a 100% remote job with those types of companies. You may still have to work from home. So factoring in like your niche, your background, kind of what value props you have to offer, what, that kind of thing, the typical, job search thing, but then also factoring in, the tech companies, the size of the tech company, what their product is, doing some research on them. Are they 100% remote type of company? But then also like where to find remote jobs. Indeed, LinkedIn, not the best for finding remote jobs. There's a lot of, the job boards like that focus on volume. They're not really focused on like fit, meaning like they're really not focused on making sure that people that are applying are the one, like the right fit for the job, or even it's just a huge job board. So people go there because it's familiar. Indeed, Monster, ZipRecruiter, all these massive jobs websites, and they're applying to remote jobs and they're just not getting anywhere. So they're wasting their time, or they're getting calls back from like not such great jobs, not such great companies. And then they're getting frustrated and saying, oh, well, it's never going to work for me, that kind of thing. So you have to take an alternative approach to it. So what I always talk about is, being valuable, right? Like understanding what your in-demand skill sets are based on your background, just your natural personality, things that you already know how to do, maybe stuff that you've learned from your jobs, from your background, from school, and just your general interests, right? Like understanding how to find a good niche for you to go find remote jobs in. And the way that I do that is, there's like an assessment that you take. You can go and take some assessments that are included in the course, but then also using AI to kind of leverage the information that you're gathering, kind of understanding like a little bit more about yourself. You can do the assessment, questionnaire, quiz thing, but then you also can use AI to leverage that information from yourself as well. So, I talk about applying smart, just kind of like a strategic approach to applications, going on, 100% remote job boards that are out there that are only focused on 100% remote jobs, not like an Indeed, not like a LinkedIn, not like a ZipRecruiter or Monster.com or Career Builder, Career Finder, whatever it's called. These are really kind of niche websites that do focus on digital nomads, right? Or remote only, types of roles. And they're out there. And there's some really, that's what I use. And once there's some really great websites out there that are just focused on finding remote jobs, and they're great. So, but yeah, the majority of people that I talk to, they always are like, I want to find a remote job, or they have already been trying to find some sort of remote work for themselves, but they haven't quite yet taken the time to do a self-assessment, or taken the time to think about like company size or the type of industry or anything like that. And then also they just apply on websites like Indeed.com. So I'm not saying anything bad about websites like Indeed.com. They're good for finding jobs, but for what we're all talking about here, for our objective of finding a true 100% remote job, to be able to live in places like Mexico, Panama, whatever the case is, you have to take a little bit of a different approach. And I think that's what a lot of people just simply aren't doing. They're submitting generic resumes. They are submitting resumes on generic websites. They are not really taking the time to do the research on themselves, on the company, put together the right type of resumes, and then look at the right types of websites to be able to get this result. And when you're talking to 100% remote companies, they don't care like about the location, right? They're 100% remote forward on purpose. They've been like that. They like that. They embrace that kind of culture. So it's just normal to be remote. So I'll keep going, but yeah. So this is what I talk about, in this, the free guide you guys can download. There's a blueprint. I mean, it's kind of 5 simple steps. These are kind of generic types of steps on here, but, first one is, but they're super helpful though, right? Like, so first one is going to be self-assessment. Whenever I started applying for remote jobs, I was just taking one resume and sending it off to all these companies and hoping I would hear something back. Guess what? I didn't hear anything back. So I had to figure out what I was doing wrong. I had to do personality tests, to take everything that I was doing and kind of reassess myself. So that's why I talk about a self-assessment. It's something that most people just don't do. And I have a kind of a step-by-step process on there. There's video modules. I talk about in-demand transferable skills, taking what you already know now based on your work background, based on your, schooling, based on any other interests or just cool stuff that finding work in those related fields. I talked to somebody the other day who was like, wow, I have a degree in healthcare and I've been working in the healthcare industry, but I also what do they say? Oh my gosh, I forgot what they were talking about, but they were like, oh, I also work on cars on the side. Like I have a garage and I've been working on this, 67 Chevy, whatever. I don't know what it was, but I was like, well, dude, why don't you go start looking at different automotive tech companies? So they did. They applied for, they put together a good resume and talked about that, their interests and stuff like that. And then when they got the interview, this is all just a few days ago, they got the interview, spent the hour talking to the hiring manager about cars. and I believe that they're waiting on a job offer right now. So don't skip that stuff. Doesn't always have to be super professional when you're working or trying to, shoot for, and this was a tech company also. So, when you're looking at these tech companies, like, you got to understand the culture a little bit. They're really kind of more focused on the person versus, the it's not like working at like a post office or anything like that. It's a little bit different. So if you can find any kind of common ground, and you're qualified for the role, like, don't skip over that kind of stuff. So, step 3, optimizing your resume and your presence. A lot of people have LinkedIn profiles, but a lot of people don't have profile pictures. They don't have like keywords built into their profile. They're not optimized for search results. And what I mean by that is, like, when recruiters are looking for you online via LinkedIn, or they're looking for people with specific skills, or they're running reports to try to find candidates for their jobs so they can send them messages, your profile needs to be optimized to pull up in those results. Your resume that you're submitting for that job that you're interested in needs to be optimized for what the role is looking for. You can't submit generic stuff to these companies because you won't even get seen. You'll literally be auto rejected. Have you ever submitted your resume somewhere and you get an instant rejection email in like 10 minutes? It's because you failed so bad that it just went straight to no. The software said, no, you're done. So yeah, you don't want that. If you don't hear anything for like a day or two, it's usually, in my opinion, that could be a good sign, because somebody actually looked at it and they're reviewing it, and they're going to send you an email with the link to book a call or interview call. So optimizing your resume, optimizing your LinkedIn presence is a really big deal these days. So I talk about how to do that in the course as well. And it's really not like anything different than what, maybe a quick Google search would find. But I think the difference with what I offer is that I've done it and I do it, and I would do it all over again tomorrow or today if I had to go find a new remote job. So I talked about, like, trying all these different strategies, different methods, hiring coaches, hiring people, paying for softwares and all this stuff. And I also, in addition to that, like, working in tech companies for the past couple of years, working at all these big and small tech companies, like, I have connections with people that I've made friends with over the years that are technical recruiters, that are HR directors, that are VPs of sales, right? At the companies that they work for. And I ask them questions like, hey, can you tell me a little bit about the softwares, how they work? Like, a while back, I was like trying to find a job and I was striking out, right? And I was like, what the heck is going on? So I reached out to a buddy of mine. I was like, can you look at my resume? Like, I'm not asking you for a job, but just look at my resume. Can you put it through your system and see how it scores or ranks or what's going on? So they gave me a lot of really valuable insight that I took action on right away. And I was able to get calls booked for interviews like pretty quickly after that. So it is like playing a game. You have to gamify this, and you have to just kind of know what to do. So that's what I talk about, in the course that I offer. That's just, again, the reason why I'm even doing this is because people asked for it. And I'm just trying to help some people out, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing all this for. So I'm gonna read some of these comments here. I'm new to remote work. What's up from Houston, Texas, from the Chosen. What's up, man? How you doing? H-Town. Jerry, is it Jerry or Gary? All right, I was 50% remote for 15 years and went 100% remote after COVID. Then Corp decided everyone needs to be in the office. Painful transition for me. Wife and I plan to move to Panama, so here I am. Nice. Okay. So you have that remote work experience. I would talk about that. Going back to office, that sucks, especially when you were already kind of experiencing working remotely, and now you got to like pack it up and go back. I can't imagine it's the same anymore. Sounds like Jerry. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Panama's cool. I did that interview with Jackie a couple of weeks ago, or like last week, I believe it was. So I'm assuming that's how you found me. Yeah. I think it's the same thing though. Like, I know that there's different visa laws and residency, laws and regulations and stuff like that per country, right? That makes sense. But like, I think the same strategy applies to anywhere in the world. As far as like finding a remote job, right? Applying, putting together your resume, getting past the softwares, having the right types of conversations when you're talking to people in interviews, and then just finding jobs on the right websites and understanding your niche, right? It's all kind of just a very simple process that people just need to kind of, in my opinion, just follow the process, stick to the process. It's what works. It's what's worked for me. I don't have like this crazy, like degree or anything like that. So I'm just a guy who kind of figured it out and makes it happen. So, yeah, it's very possible to find a remote job. I think people are just making some simple, kind of common mistakes, and I'm trying to help clean that up a little bit for folks. So, oh, you went on her tour in February. Nice. Very cool. I've never been to Panama. I heard it was a really beautiful place. So that's awesome. Jeremy Wheeler, about your course, trying to work my way through it. Nice, man. Awesome. Appreciate that. I hope it's been helpful. Jeremy, if you bought the course, I don't know if you've joined the Discord group, but I created a Discord group. It's kind of like a private community. If you never used Discord before, it's kind of like a chat app that I've used for different groups that I've subscribed to. But anywho, in the group that I created for this course, the members in the course, basically, like, there's additional resources and tools in there, and I have daily job postings going in there every single day that are from 100% remote websites that I talk about. So the purpose of me even doing this course and this community was one, community. So you have other people that are in there with you in the trenches, right? Doing the work, like trying to just, stick together and do all this stuff to try to help one another out, sharing best practices, sharing their wins, motivation, stuff like that. But then also I have additional tools and resources, like different AI tools that I use, different resume builders, different articles, and then also the daily job postings. So I would recommend, take the time and kind of find your own, right? Like, find your own, create accounts on these websites, set the alerts up so that way the jobs are coming to you, that you get the notifications. But this is just another little value add that I put in there for people. So if you pay for the course, it's a one-time cost. You can get into the group. I'll add you. Just shoot me a message. Oh, okay. You sent me a message. All right. Let me double check that. Yeah, please double check. Let me know. I'll add you in there today. Let me make a note of that real quick. And we'll go from there. All right, I got my little notepad here. Give me just a second here, Jeremy. I want to make sure that I get that taken care of for you. Add to Discord. So it's a free app, Discord, never charges you anything. There's no fee or anything like that. Just an app you want to download, and you can set up your profile and all that stuff. But yeah. Okay, so appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, there's a lot of common reasons why people fail at kind of getting remote work and remote jobs and things like that. So I think when you kind of have a simplified process of literally just tell me what to do, show me where to look for jobs, help me put together a little bit of nicer resume that's tailored specific to the job that you're applying for, it makes all the difference as well. So fishing in the right ponds, knowing what your value props are, knowing how to go and find opportunities like that is a really big deal. So, and then you also have, the group that I created that's part of the course and stuff too. So, but yeah, there's a couple of things in there I talk about as well. So there's like a LinkedIn strategy guide that teaches you and shows you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, some follow-up templates, how to use AI to kind of engage with people on LinkedIn. I have a couple different cheat sheets for interviews. There's this really cool tool that I've used for building a resume, but then also like live interviews. There's a bot these days that will sit on top of your Zoom call or your Google Meets call, and while you're interviewing, the AI is going to give you answers to that interview as the person's asking you. So stuff like that is out there now, and it's pretty crazy. I probably I've never used that particular tool for that purpose. I prefer to have conversations naturally with other humans like that. But like I'm just saying, there's a lot of cool tools out there that I talk about. So interview cheat sheets, storytelling frameworks, how to optimize your resume for the job description, but specific formatting to kind of show the impact and the result that you had. Man, I talk a lot about, there's a lot of, I try to put so much value in there that is 100% worth everything that you know, kind of invested in there. So, finding remote jobs, it's not impossible. Job search is not dead. It's just a little flooded. You have a lot of people. Here's the thing. You got a lot of people in there, right? They're all trying to find remote jobs, but I want, like, how many of them actually know how to do it, right? How many of them are actually getting in there and making it happen? So, yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much all I had for this particular webinar. Take it easy on me, guys. This is my first time doing this. I think next time I'm going to have a little bit more specific topics to discuss. Like I do have a report that I kind of created about, you know, the 30 biggest mistakes that people make when they're doing their job search, and then also the 30 solutions to those mistakes that people are making in their job search. I found a couple of more remote job web boards that I thought were really interesting. I found some more tools that were really cool to talk about that I'm going to include kind of in that private community. But I'm going to do these weekly. I'm going to do these webinars either weekly or bi-weekly. So if you want to stay in touch, you know, you guys can follow me you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram, pretty much anywhere. My username is the RT86TX, so you can find me there. You can find my website. I'll put it here in the chat. If you want to subscribe to the free guide for now, you'll probably get some other emails from me after you subscribe. But yeah, you can check that out. It'll take you to the course page, but there's a green button on there that has the free download. But yeah, also if you have any questions, just feel free to give me a holler, shoot me a DM. I'll do my best to answer those questions here for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. It's not impossible. You can find a remote job. It's very rewarding if you can do that, especially if you already have experience doing that as well. But there's a lot of people that just don't know. They don't really know where to get started. They don't know how to do a lot of stuff with this, right? So I try to just help people out in that arena as well. So, but all right, guys. Well, I'll let you get the rest of your night back. I do appreciate you guys hopping on this with me, and we'll see you soon. Peace.